Fill in the blank, draft or pass. The Raiders should blank Ashton Jeanty at number 6. I'm Mitchell Renz. You're watching the Raiders Report. And coming up here on today's show, the Raiders clearly love the Boise State running back, and there was a real chance that they could end up taking him at number 6 overall in round 1 of the 2025 NFL Draft. So coming up here on today's episode, I'm going to tell you that the Raiders, for a fact, are interested in Ashton Jeanty, and after some of the rumors from yesterday, the chance of this happening, where he's in silver and black, are growing and growing and growing. And I'm going to tell you, you got to wait for the last one. The last one on today's show, a lot of people are going to go, yo, shit, man, Ashton Jeanty might actually be a Raider. Before I tell you everything that you need to see here on today's episode, huge shout out to our sponsor, Panda Sups. Use code DRAFT. You're going to be able to save 25% off at pandasups.com. So what we're going to do is I'm going to roll through here of why I believe that the Raiders could draft Jeanty and some of the things that we have heard and seen over the past 24 hours. The first one, John Spytek was at Boise State Pro Day yesterday, and no disrespect to the other players at Boise, there was one reason and one reason only that a bunch of NFL teams, all 32 NFL teams, in fact, showed up to Boise yesterday. It was to see Ashton Jeanty, somebody who I actually thought probably should have won the Heisman. Spytek is here chilling out, which, he had the opportunity to talk to some different coaches, had the opportunity to talk to the Boise State head coach, which is actually what this picture is right here. This is Spytek talking with Boise State coaches at the Jeanty Pro Day. But, I know we talk a lot about Pete Carroll, and I know, this channel has been a channel that has talked a lot about the decision-making of head coaches, especially in the draft. John Gruden was terrible. Josh McDaniels was terrible. But Spytek's going to be the one calling most of the shots in the draft. And if you were to ask me, if it were to come down to what Pete Carroll and Spytek think, they're going to say that it's a team. They're going to say that they're in the same, they're both have the same power. But overall, Spytek, I think, is going to be the decision-maker in the drafting process. Jeanty looked incredible in all of his drills. And it sounds kind of weird because the dude didn't have a shirt on, but then you got to remember DK Metcalf with Pete Carroll. That guy was absolutely ripped, and Jeanty looks like he's in incredible shape. What I love, though, also, he showed the ability to catch the football. If you're going to draft a running back at 6, you're going to need him to do absolutely everything. And it's not that I don't think that he can catch the football, and I know when you look at his numbers in 2024, he didn't have to do it. But I think it was like he didn't have to do it. Boise understood what the assignment was. We're going to smash the football. We're going to give him 25 to 30 touches every single game, and we're going to figure out a way to put a ball in his belly. Because when you do that, good shit happens. Let's go to the next reason here of why I think that the Raiders could draft Jeanty at number 6. The Chip Kelly offense. And I know a lot of times when we talk about the Chip Kelly offense, it is a spread offense. A lot of times, you think of vertical passing attack. But Kelly does run the football a lot. So I went back and I looked. And I saw what Chip Kelly's offense looked like for the Philadelphia Eagles and the San Francisco 49ers in these 4 seasons. So they ran in 2013, 30.8 times. That was 5th most in the NFL. 2014, 29.8, 7th. 2015, 11th. 2016, 6th. So that's all 4 years. Huh? This is rush attempts per game. All 4 of these seasons, you can see that he's top 11. Chip Kelly is going to want to run the football. No doubt about it. This is something that he's going to try to do. And then when you look at what Chip Kelly was able to do in college, on top of that, and this is important because Kelly was the UCLA head coach from 2018 to 2023, and then the OSU OC in 2024. As you can see, that first year, number 73, but always, and I mean after that, from 2019 to 2023, they're top 40 in rush attempts per game. Ohio State last season was a little bit lower, number 95, which when you see how they ran their offense, though, they ran not as many plays as every other team just because of how quickly they would score. They wanted to be able to run the football effectively, but because Chip Kelly is somebody that does really value the running game, Pete Carroll values the running game as well, though when you look at the past few seasons, when Carroll was there in Seattle with Geno Smith, they didn't throw the football nearly as much. But I think it's because of how bad that offensive line was and how, they really couldn't get the ground game going just because of how poor the interior offensive line overall was. Now, we got more reasons coming up here in just a moment. But if you find yourself looking for more draft videos, if you want tons of live coverage around the Raiders, around the 2025 NFL Draft, make sure you click that subscribe button. Make sure you turn on your notifications because I promise you, if you're ready to rock, if you're ready to party for 20-plus hours on the NFL Draft days, make sure you're tuning in to the Raiders Report. Let's go to the next reason here of why I think that the Raiders could draft Jeanty at number 6. The Raiders are really big on relationships this year, right? I mean, we've seen it in free agency. We've seen it all offseason, how important relationships are to this regime, to this organization, and the Raiders have made it a point to meet with Jeanty as often as humanly possible. Jeanty, in fact, is the only non-Ohio State running back that the Raiders met with at the Combine. The Raiders also met with Trevion Henderson and Quinshawn Junkins, who you know is very close to Chip Kelly. The Raiders clearly value relationships, which I feel like every time I've talked about a player of why the Raiders signed somebody, you can go back and go, well, there's the connection. There's the connection. And especially the running back that the Raiders brought in this offseason, Raheem Mostert, was with Chip Kelly in 2015 and 2016. But not only did they meet with him at the Combine, they also have a top 30 visit with him. So you got a top 30 visit, you met with them at the Combine, and then you think about this entire cycle and how it's gone with a relationship-building standpoint. We got more reasons coming up here in just a moment of why the Raiders, I believe, could go out and take the Boise State running back. Before I get into it, though, I'm rocking Panda Subs today. They're the sponsor on today's show, and I don't know what Panda wants at pick number 6, but I do know this. He's here for the nation, and if you use code DRAFT, you're going to be able to save 25% off at pandasups.com. I don't care if you're looking for protein, pre-workout. Maybe you want something that's going to help you sleep. Maybe you're looking for a fat burner. If you're looking for something to have a healthier gut, their greens are something that I love a lot. One of my favorite products, though, that they have right now is their Super Nootropic. And whether you're a gamer, whether you're trying to make your most out of your workday, maybe you're somebody that's trying to do the best in school. We all have that point in the day where you feel a little bit of a crash. You take a scoop of the Super Nootropic, dude, you're going to be locked in to exactly what you need to be doing. And they also have some best sellers if you want to see some of the other products that they have. No matter what, though, 25% off, code DRAFT, pandasups.com. If you spend over $100 and you live in the United States, domestic shipping is how I would say this. You're also going to be able to get a bag and a shaker pictured right over there, but you got to go to pandasups.com. You got to use code DRAFT. That link's going to be available to y'all down in the comments and down in the description of today's show. Let's go to another reason here because I said earlier that all 32 teams went to Boise's Pro Day. All 32 teams had somebody there watching Ashton Jeanty. But in my mind, there were only 6 teams that had their running backs coach there. And I don't know the dynamic of every NFL team out there. I'm not going to sit here and act like I do. But I would imagine the teams that are the most serious about drafting Jeanty would have their running back coach in attendance at the Boise Pro Day. Well, there were only 6 teams that had their running back coach at the Jeanty Pro Day. The Giants, who picked number 3, the Raiders, who picked number 6, the Saints, who picked number 9, Broncos at 20, Steelers 21, Vikings 24. I look at a lot of those teams and I go, I think that's kind of interesting because I don't think Jeanty's going to go to the Giants at number 3. Maybe the Saints take him at number 9. Like, that could be a potential there. But a lot of the other teams that I thought maybe could go the Jeanty route are the Dallas Cowboys at number 12. Maybe the Chicago Bears at number 10. But, like, he ain't falling in 20, right? Like, there's not a world that exists where Ashton Jeanty's fallen to the 20 to the Broncos, 21 to the Steelers, 24 to the Minnesota Vikings. So, to me, I look at that and I go, out of all those teams that we just looked at that had the running back coach there, I would say the Raiders are the most likely to take Jeanty in round 1. Coming up next here, though, the cherry on top. And I like somebody that's, rumors, where there's smoke, there's fire. When you see this next thing that I'm about to bring up around Jeanty, I think a lot of people are going to go, all right, yeah, I think Jeanty's going to end up being a Raider. I'll tell you what that is in just a moment, but today is opening day. I'm a baseball guy through and through. Was able to play college a little bit, played professional baseball in Germany, but I'm a diehard Mets fan. The Mets are playing the Stros. That's Chug's favorite team. I want to know down below, what is your favorite MLB team? I'm going to be looking, especially for y'all Dodgers fans. I got a bone to pick with you. Who? the Los Doyers. Let's go to the next one here. After the Ashton Jeanty Pro Day, after the Boise State Pro Day, I don't know how many of y'all know this, but Jeanty sat down with the Raiders and had dinner after the Pro Day. In my mind, I would go, all 32 teams are there. Jeanty had dinner with the Raiders, not any other team, but the Las Vegas Raiders. So I saw this tweet from Takeover Sports Podcast. Shout out to them. I was in their DMs. I was talking to him. Really good dude. Seems like he's doing his thing. A big Dodgers fan from what I see. My roommate is serving Ashton Jeanty and the Raiders GM right now at the restaurant she works at. Laugh my ass off. So obviously I had to DM, and I had to do a few other little connections. I messaged some other people, but based on the information that I received, so it was John Spytek, the Raiders running back coach Deland McCullough, who was with Notre Dame last season, the Boise State head coach Spencer Danielson, and Jeanty. Those four, I was told, at a high-top bar, and the restaurant that they ate at was called the Matador Restaurant. You can Google it right now. Though, when you look it up on Google, it says Matador Boise. It's less than 2 miles away from the facility, and the dinner happened at somewhere around 6:40 p.m. Eastern Time, which was a few hours after the Boise Pro Day. My point is, I know how important relationships matter to this regime. I also know that all 32 teams were there. I also know that the Raiders were one of 6 teams that had their running back coach there. So you're telling me after the Boise State Pro Day, the head coach of Boise went to dinner with Ashton Jeanty, with the Las Vegas Raiders, with John Spytek, and with their running back coach. I'm telling you what right now, I am a believer of that type of shit really matters to this team, but it also really matters to Jeanty because he's got this small town mindset where when you look at everybody that showed up at the Heisman ceremony, people are rocking Gucci, Louis Vuitton. Ashton Jeanty showed up in a Boise State outfit. Why? Because he's rocking with his team. And when I saw that, I originally thought of what JPJ said last season. When you play for the team on the front, it's going to bless the team on your back. Ashton Jeanty is a freaking dog. And I do think that after the last 24 hours, there is a better chance that the Raiders do end up selecting Ashton at number 6 overall in round 1. So overall, if you watch today's show, I want y'all to just put on that thinking cap. That's what the Raiders Report is about. I'm not sitting up here saying that it's going to happen, but you have to admit, after hearing everything that you just heard on today's episode of the Raiders Report, you're probably sitting there going, all right, yeah, I kind of think that Ashton Jeanty could be a little bit of a higher probability that he could be the pick for Las Vegas at number 6 in the 2025 NFL Draft.